it's funny. It's kind of like we're all getting used to what it's like to essentially experience a tiny portion of what it means to have CF, at least as it relates to the world and other people. And so many of you, I've learned, you know, go to vlogging, go to, you know, community and the internet community to reach out and to share connection because you're so isolated. And it's funny to see the world now doing that, right?
Yeah.
But and how far ahead you guys were. The people I've interacted with CF, like while you're all wildly different, you have a similar, there's like, I don't want to generalize, but I can't believe how many artistic people there are, like specifically with CF. And I don't know if that's like because you get creative having to spend so much time alone, or you're in the hospital a lot, or whatever it is. But there are so many like artists and vloggers and writers, and so many of the young people I meet with CF feel like they're years ahead of other people their age in terms of like even their ability to communicate, and how much they know about their bodies and their own illness and medication and how they can advocate for themselves. It's been a really cool thing to see, and I believe deeply now that, you know, this medication is out and it's doing so much for you. Like, I feel like the people that have CF that are now going to have a new lease on life and be able to live to like be, you know, 70, 80, 90 years old, I feel like you guys are doing some crazy cool shit.
Look at this view that we woke up to today.
I remember Claire when she thought, because I think she was on the trial and she didn't know if she was getting the placebo or not, and she kept telling me like, God, I just want to make it because I'm so close to a cure. I just got to hold out for like 4 or 5 more years. But I remember when she got in that trial, she was more scared of the idea that she wasn't going to die than she was of dying, because her whole life she had talked about like, well, you won't live to 18 or you might live to 25 or whatever, and the idea of a full life terrified her and it gave her anxiety, and I'd never heard anything like that. Now you're on the other side of it and you're like, what I can do anything? But that's why I think it's people like you guys who can change the world, because you don't have the same fear of death that all of us have, right? Like most people that aren't born with a chronic illness, we spend our lives running from the idea that we're going to die, right? When you're born with a chronic illness, it seems like it's a part of your life. Even if you're not super sick and it's not going to happen tomorrow, or you know, you might live to however long, it's somewhere, got to be somewhere in the back of your mind. But for those of us who are just seemingly normal, right, we're afraid of it. So what can you do in your life if you don't have that fear? And I think some of the greatest thinkers and poets and activists and change makers and entrepreneurs are people that use death as an ally. Which, this is why I go back to, like, you know, with a potential cure and something like what's happening with you guys, like the CF community could just go bonkers and change the world, man, because you don't have the same fear. Like you're once you can get over that new fear, you're just like, it is something. And I can only speak from knowing Claire and from our private conversations, but it is something that she both dreamed about and dreaded.
Yeah.
Like, so you're getting a chance to live what she couldn't in so many ways, which I'm sure has its own implications of like the survivor's guilt that comes from getting a chance to take the drug and having so many friends that didn't quite make it. It's all complicated. I'm sure it's complicated as fuck. But at the very least, you know, I don't know. I kind of feel like you guys have like a little bit of a cheat code now for the game of life, which is you're not afraid of death, and you know how to live in the moment, and that can teach all of us on the other side a lot.
Oh, hi. So the voice you were just listening to was the voice of Justin Baldoni, and Justin Baldoni was the director of a movie called 5 Feet Apart, which came out like a year or two ago, and it was basically the first movie that, in my opinion, ever accurately portrayed cystic fibrosis. And on our way across the country, we stopped to visit Justin at his home because him and Morgan have been friends since the movie came out, basically. And So we stopped to visit him and have a little chat with him. And if you want to see the whole conversation, you can see it on Morgan's channel. But I just took my favorite parts and I put them into this video. But anyways, I know I've been talking about this stuff a lot recently, but I just think it's so interesting how most people go their whole lives pretty healthy, and it's not until the end of their lives that they have to start worrying about getting sick and thinking about death and stuff like that. But for people like me and Morgan and other people that are able to take this new drug for cystic fibrosis, it's like we went our whole lives dying, pretty much, like expecting to die young, just sick our whole lives, and now suddenly there's this drug that is like, oops, you're better. And now I'm 26 and Morgan's 30 and we're both like, what do we do with our lives now? And it's weird because we have such a close relationship with death because we've grown up just facing it constantly. Like, we've both had so many near-death experiences with cystic fibrosis, and it's something that like your average healthy person doesn't experience. So I think it gives a kind of unique perspective on the world. We never expected to live this long, so we've never thought about things like establishing credit or any long-term careers or anything like that because we never bothered to learn because we didn't think we would still be here. I think in a lot of ways it is a blessing. Like Justin was saying, it gives us a completely different perspective on life than most people. But now, I guess knowing what to do with that perspective is the hard part. Suddenly we're faced with the potential to do a lot more than we ever thought we would have time for. And knowing what to do, I think, is a little bit, it makes us feel a little bit lost. But yeah, it's definitely the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. And honestly, at the rate that I was going, especially if you ever saw my India vlogs or anything, I really didn't think I had much time left. And then this drug came out of nowhere and was like, oh, bitch, you thought. And now I'm still here. It's like now we're in much healthier bodies, but we still carry the mental baggage that came with having cystic fibrosis and everything that's happened our whole lives in regards to that. And it's hard to explain to somebody that doesn't have cystic fibrosis. So when we meet new people and they see us looking like perfectly healthy now, they don't see everything that kind of lies beneath, everything that we carry from just the past. It is really hard to deal with, but at the same time, I'm like so beyond grateful that this has happened. And I think having cystic fibrosis and growing up as sick as I did made me the person that I am now. And if I didn't have it, I don't know what I'd be doing or who I would be. But yeah, I'm kind of just rambling. But thank you guys for watching this video. And thank you, Justin, if you're watching this, for taking the time to talk to us. Justin Baldoni, despite his like celebrity status, he's one of the most genuine people I've ever met. He's really inspiring because he basically uses what he has to really try and create change in the world. And with all of his movies and everything that he does, he's trying to spread awareness about different things, and that's really inspiring. It is so cold in here. I need to go turn the heat on and not freeze to death. It's like hailing outside right now. It's like a mix between snow and rain. Okay, that's all. Thanks for coming along this weird life journey with me and watching as I go through my constant existential crises. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.